Okay, so the recording has started. So everybody that is listening to this sometime in the future on YouTube or what have you, welcome. To the guys that are here, welcome. And I'm still trying to get the recording session. There we go. So we're logged into my laptop. So we are good, and let's get started. So been captain of the RoboBoat team for 3 years, captain of the RobotX team for 2 years, and along the way picked up a few tricks, and that's what I'm here to share with you guys and gals. So I've got a little lesson plan. I'm just going to pull up. Once this syncs. And in the meantime, just for the room here, I see that you guys both have your laptops. So do you have MATLAB installed?
I can get it on VMware.
Okay. So yeah, definitely have that prepared. We're going to go through that towards the end. I'm not sure if what we're going to do you can do on VMware, specifically because the toolbox that we're using may not come with that version by default, and if it doesn't, I'm not sure if we can install it, but we'll give it a whirl. So to begin though, we're going to start by installing VirtualBox and Ubuntu. So I'm going to serve you guys up each of these USB drives. I have them rigged to have all of your information, so no worries there. On the real end, what we're going to have, what you'll see on there are 3 different pieces. So hi, welcome. So why don't you go ahead and grab, actually, grab this guy. So USB drive, and what this has is VirtualBox, the VirtualBox extensions, as well as the Ubuntu 18.04, I think 0.1 ISO file. And the reason that you can also get these, I'm going to just pull up the link real quick. If you do Ubuntu, search for it, and you go to download, you can see Ubuntu Desktop, and it's just the long-term support version. We're using this one just because it's the most recent. I do like to normally use an older version when doing my own development, just because you have stability guarantees for longer. You can have version control issues. There are other ways that you can go about this. My personal favorite is a pure dual boot. It's the fastest, but it's also the most risky. Chances are, if it's your first time, you'll probably corrupt your hard drive, blow out all your data, but that just kind of is par for the course. Once you do it a couple times, you get used to you learn how to do it safe ways. There'll be a video that shows how to do that on OwlTube, but that's not what we're doing tonight. You can also use Windows, the Windows subsystem for Linux, which is the newest option. So Windows now partnered with Canonical, who distributes Ubuntu. So Microsoft partnered with Canonical, and it's spectacular because they have full support for Ubuntu inside of the Windows terminal, and with a little bit of configuration, like literally of Windows. And so that's a full reinstall of Windows if you don't have that. So for tonight, we're going to go over VirtualBox. Once we have Linux and Ubuntu specifically installed, we're going to go right to installing ROS, because it can take a little bit of time. And so while ROS is installing in the background, we're going to circle back and we're going to talk about 3 different text editors. Really brief overview, not getting into too much about any one of them. We're going to go over some basic commands that you can use from the terminal that will make your life so much easier. We're going to go over SSH, the secure shell, that allows you to access a different computer from your computer, which when you're working with embedded systems, like in robotics, it's pivotal. SCP is for file transfer. And then we're going to go over a little bit of Git. And then once ROS is installed, we'll go over the backbones, the publish and subscribe. We're going to talk about services, actions, and packages. And in that, we're going to talk a little bit about motivation. Why do we use ROS? When do we use ROS? And then how do we use ROS? We're also going to talk about RQT, which is a really powerful visualization tool. And with that, we'll talk about RViz a little bit. But the full seminar on RViz and the simulation environment is going to come next week. Talk a little bit about ROS command line, really powerful for debugging. And then finally, at the end, we're going to talk about how to use ROS in MATLAB. And we're going to whip up a quick a GUI, actually. So it'll be a GUI that has a ROS backend. And this becomes really nice later on when you have your application complete and you want to get data from your robot. You can do it all through MATLAB and their app designer program. So with that, let's get back to installing. So on the flash drive that you guys have, you'll see, as I said, 3 files.
You wanted us to download VirtualBox?
Nope, they are on that. It should be on that flash drive.
Well, no, like to upload it on my computer.
Yes.
Definitely.
So the install.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I missed like 2 minutes. So.
Gotcha. So I'm just going to copy this over from my computer, or copy it over from the flash drive real quick. All right, while this is happening, just talking with the room a little bit. And I know some of you guys, but what's your reason for being here? Tell me a little bit about what your, howdy, welcome. Yeah, tell me a little bit about why you want to learn more about robotics, or, what your background with robotics is.
Me, it'll help strengthen anything I could do with marine robotics as well, because I'm not a programmer right now, but I want to learn it more, so I can't do as much as I want to with the club and on my own, like my own personal thing, because the more I learn about it, the more I could just do anywhere I am.
Yeah, awesome.
It's beneficial for me to be able to, I can build anything.
To dive in, yeah. Just get that foundation. Cool?
Pretty much the same thing. I think we're all from marine robotics here.
Yeah.
So that'll help with that. It's a very interesting subject that I would want to go to in a future career. It's an option I want. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm just interested in learning as much as I can, whatever goes into robotics. I find it interesting.
Right on. All right. Hi, Haley. Welcome. Want to tell us why you're here?
I'm here to learn some more programming stuff.
Sick. Yeah. Great news. The coffee has arrived.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like fading out. Quick break. Well, that's I second that motion.
He's parking his car and will be in.
I just, did you answer or did he answer? I just texted him. He's texting me. What a bitch. Caught him on that one.
All right.
So, Haley, I have this flash drive for you once you're set up. Yeah, it did. It's like you click on the device, like that.
You need to install Ubuntu on it.
So the bare minimum for Ubuntu inside of VirtualBox, I'd say you really don't want to do it with less than 10 gigabytes. But
I'm asking because my C drive only has 20.
20. So you should be fine with that. And so the nice thing about Ubuntu is that it's pretty lightweight. There's definitely Linux distributions that are a lot more lightweight. Ubuntu is kind of a one-size-fits-all, so it comes with a lot of add-ons and is meant to be a full desktop. But yeah, you can get away with, I think it's like 4 or 8 gigs is the system requirements. And then you want to have a little space for the programs that we're going to be putting on there. So, okay, now the transfer has completed. So I'm going to go ahead and hop back into it. These are the 3 programs. So first is VirtualBox. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this. Just go through the setup wizard. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to dig into these settings, you're welcome to. I use them all. Default, you can select which ones you do and do not want in terms of the entries or file associations. Again, going with default. The network connection will be temporarily reset, but that's fine. And then again, let's go ahead and finish. It's going to ask for administrative approval, and hop, skip, and a jump. Okay.
I thought you already did all this. Sorry. I did it all while you were talking. I thought you were ahead of me.
No. Cool.
Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through the whole thing, and you're ahead of the curve now. And also, if there's any questions at any time, hold them. No, I'm just kidding. Please stop me, interrupt me. It'll get real boring if I'm just speaking for 2 hours, especially with this head cold that I've got. Eric, this is for you. You got good hands today? Any day? All right, good enough.
Yeah, one hand. I'm like, I'm talking.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is the VirtualBox interface. Have you guys, and Eric, just real quick, what's on there is there are 3 programs or 3 files. It's the VirtualBox installer, the VirtualBox guest editions, and then the Ubuntu 18.04.01 ISO. So I put them all on flash drives because it'll be a lot quicker than downloading them all, real time. If you already have Ubuntu, then you don't need to do any of this, and sit tight. Pardon? So if you don't have your computer, then why don't you sit with Eric, and if you guys want to do it also just for the glorious benefit nation of Kazakhstan, you can. Yeah. So if you guys want to do that to follow along, if not, once we get to the part where we're using Ubuntu, you can pick back up then. But so, all right, VirtualBox is off to the races. So I'm going to do a new operating system. I'm going to just name it Ubuntu. You can select where you want to install it. Of course, if you have different drives with different storage capacities, you might want to put this on one with more storage available. But for me, it's just the C drive right now. And it just defaults to 64-bit Linux, because I'm running a 64-bit machine. Now, the memory size, you're going to want to max out. Just put it right to the green line, or something close to it. Now, there's theories where, like, it's better to have it be a direct multiple, 50, 124, something along those lines. I think maybe 5128, but I'm probably off on that. But just give it as much as you can, because this is going to be what dictates the performance of your virtual machine. And if it's too low, it's going to run terribly. Similarly, this is, it's reserving system RAM. So if you're trying to run a RAM-intensive application like Chrome, right? If you have 15 Chrome tabs up on your native operating system, and you only have 4 or 5 gigs of RAM for your virtual operating system, nothing is going to work well. So I'm going to create a virtual hard disk now. Let's go ahead and create that. I'm going to choose a virtual hard disk. In my experience, it's just been I've had the best success with it. I'm going to do fixed size, specifically, again, for speed. So you could do dynamic, and then, it'll just take up as much space as it needs, but it's going to be a heck of a lot slower than if you just allocate, 20 gigs, 60 gigs, whatever of memory. Hey, Dan. So again, fixed size, and we want to see how much we have available. So you just go to your file explorer, click on this PC. On my C drive, we see I have 77.8 gigs available. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 40 gigabyte partition. But you could really do it with 20.